Hey, this is John Liddle. I am an anchor at NewsRadio 1080 KRLD. I've always been a radio guy, I will tell you that. I've loved radio since I was a little kid, and coming out of college, I got lucky enough to get on with KRLD. A little bit of on-air stuff, a whole lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, kind of cut my teeth here, and then I went off into the wild world of Western Oklahoma radio, a small market where you did everything. You sold, you were on air, you were doing games in Arkansas. It was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. I moved back to Dallas in 2016, and then KRLD called me up and said, hey, we got some opportunities for you, and eventually ended up in the news role here at KRLD, and I had no idea how much I would enjoy it. When I'm away from KRLD, when I'm at home, it is all about my kids. It's about my 3 girls, and they each have unique interests, but it seems like we're always watching musicals of some sort, or the latest Marvel movie if it's my oldest, or the latest cartoon if it's my youngest. So we're very, very much into whatever's going on in their heads, and I try to spend as much time with my kids as possible. Swimming, going to church, horse riding, doing whatever we can to make sure that they have a good time, because, you know, when I see them smile, I smile too. I loved radio as a kid. I don't know what it was, but I got so drawn into it. While everybody else was worried about what TV shows were on, I was tuned in to what was going on in DFW as far as local radio went. And I listened to all the games. So Eric Nadel on the radio, I mean, he put me to bed at night in the summer, or I stayed up late playing darts in my dad's garage and listening to Eric Nadel. I remember specifically him calling Juan Gonzalez hitting this home run right before the All-Star break that gave him 100 RBIs before the All-Star break. So, I've been a fan of radio as long as I can remember, especially sports-wise. And so we're talking about Eric Nadel and Brad Sham and all of those broadcasters that helped bring Dallas sports to me. I was a huge fan of them. If I wasn't on the radio, and if I could just decide to be anything, I would be a singer. I'd be a professional singer, kind of like a Josh Groban or something like that. I love singing national anthems, and I'm so grateful I get to do that at sporting events. I've gotten a chance to do that at Mavs games and Stars games and Rangers games, and even a monster truck rally at AT&T Stadium. Now that was incredible. There's just something that jazzes me up about everybody kind of listening to me and in tune with what I'm doing just for, like a minute and 12 seconds while I'm singing the national anthem. It is so fun, and I get such a thrill from it. I love telling positive stories. If I could do nothing but interview people that are making a difference in the community and encouraging other people or lifting other people up, or just getting outside of themselves and doing things for other people for no other reason than they're trying to make the community better, I would do that 24/7. KRLD is such a legacy station, and I love the fact that I get to work at the station that, so many of my loved ones listened to growing up. It has always been a brand that has meant a lot to me. So getting a chance to work here, kind of in a new generation of KRLD, is simply an honor. The biggest thing that influences me on a daily basis is my faith in God. I believe, and it's helpful to me to believe, that there's a power greater than myself that's driving this whole thing, because I know the areas where I struggle even today, but knowing I've got a place where I can lay those burdens and then go to for guidance, that's huge for me. I love talking to people about their faith. It could be faith in, almost anything, but I think that's important, to have something larger than yourself to believe in. And once we get outside of ourselves and stop thinking that it all depends on us, and if we screw it up, then it's all going to be screwed up. Once we get past that, it can really really be a breakthrough moment in our lives. And certainly it has been for me as I've given up my life in a greater and greater way to God over these last few years. I think right now my biggest role model is Bob Goff. If you have not seen this guy, I mean, he's just incredible. He's just all about love. He's all about bringing people together. He's a best-selling writer, but then he's using the proceeds from those books to go to foreign countries and help save kids from poverty or from, child slavery or sex trafficking, things like that. I mean, he's got this message that is so wholeheartedly authentic, but at the same time, then he goes out there and does something with it. And additionally, Bob knows that everybody has value. And that really speaks to my heart because I want to make sure that everybody knows in this life that they have value, that, they are significant, that they can be seen, and that they are cared for. And if I have like 1/1000th of the influence that Bob Goff has had in this life, in my life, I think I'll be able to be put to bed really satisfied at the end of it. If I had to give some advice to aspiring reporters or journalists, or they want to be an anchor down the line, I know it can seem like a really cutthroat industry, and it can seem like an industry that's, really hard to make it in because there are some long hours and there are some thankless parts to it. I would ask you, why do you want to do it? Whatever that reason is for you. For me, why I love doing this is I love connecting with people and I love telling them what they need to know. You've got to have that why, that reason that inspires you to go after it. Because no, it's not going to be easy. But if you can enjoy every moment along the way, then it's still going to drive you forward because you've got a grander, more important vision on the horizon than just, am I going to make it? You got to put all that aside and just say, why do I really, really want to do this? And I have got news for you. It can't be about you. Maybe one day you'll be this big famous reporter and everything, and I hope that happens for you if you want that. But you can't be driven by that. It's going to be really hard to be successful in this industry and personally successful in your heart if that's the only thing driving you. Thanks so much for watching. I'm John Liddle. Remember to listen to News Radio 1080 KRLD in your car or on your phone through the Odyssey app.